It's the night before. It's just Friday night. We're just prepping the barbecue ready for go tomorrow. I'll just lift that off. So you can see in here, we've got the barbecue sectioned. Not that kind of sectioned, but sectioned off the back section here. This is where the briquettes, the charcoal briquettes and the wood will go. There's going to be water in here. And this drip pan is going to go here in the front section too, and that will be filled with water. That will be filled with water too. This little reservoir here, and that'll all help to keep the meat moist. So I'm just going to put the drip pan in place and fill up with coal ready. So we've now got the barbecue loaded up with coals and a bit of wood ready to go. You'll see here there's the charcoal briquettes and just one chunk of hickory just sitting on top there. You'll notice it's a little bit lower there. That's because we've also got the chimney ready for tomorrow as well. This is what we're going to use to light the barbecue to start with. A lighter cube goes in this little section underneath, and that the flame from that lighter cube travels up into the chimney, lights these few briquettes, and then I'm going to dump those into this corner here and stick another little bit of hickory on top to get it started. The temperature probe is on ready as well, the wire going through this top vent, and the thermometer's all rigged up and ready to go also. There's going to be water in there, water in the reservoir too. So that's all ready to go now, all set up and ready for tomorrow morning, so I can get up and just light up and get going straight away. So now with the barbecue all set up, it's time to create our dry rub to rub onto these lovely ribs that we've got here. Nice pork spare ribs, all split up as well. That's just how they came, so I didn't have to cut those up or anything. You can do them all together, obviously, anyway. So for our rub, we've started with some salt and pepper, which I've already ground into the bowl here. Now we're gonna add some garlic. Get some garlic in there. That's garlic granules, keeping it nice and simple. Some paprika. Get some paprika in there. Okay. And lastly, some demerara sugar. Usually brown sugar would be used for this, but I ran out, but I'm pretty sure that demerara sugar will do the job just fine. Give that a stir up, and there we go. That's looking like a very nice dry rub for the ribs. Probably have to make a bit more than that to go on all these ribs, but yeah, I think that's looking nice. So I'll get a bit more garlic in there. Get some more paprika in there. And some more sugar in there. Okay. That's probably too much, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. Okay, there we are. Now, time to get this rubbed onto these lovely ribs. So, as you can see, our ribs are now plentifully coated in our dry rub. I've put them on a plate. I'm now going to wrap this all in foil and put it in the fridge. Let that rub penetrate the meat a little bit, or they say that's what happens anyway if you leave it overnight. And it'll be sitting there ready and waiting for tomorrow morning, so we can fire up the barbie and go.
The next day.
So it's the next morning, and we're ready to go. We've got lighter cubes there. Just gonna go and get the chimney from over here. Stuck it there in case it rained, and we'll get the lighter cubes ready and get everything lit up. Alright, so I've got some water heating up, ready to put in the drip pan here and the reservoir. I've got a couple of lighter cubes just to make sure we get the starter briquettes good and lit. So let's get those lit. There we go. And then chimney over. There we go. And that will now get these lit. And once they're lit, I'll pop them down over in this corner to start the fire. This little chunk of wood on top. And while we wait for those to get lit, we'll go and get the water for the reservoir. Okay, so the starter briquettes are now lit and ready to go, so we'll get these on to the barbecue. Put that out of the way. Okay, they will now get the fire started nicely. Just knock them over that side. Put that bit of wood on. Okay. You will notice that the wood is kind of over to the left. That's because this will be the first half of the cook, and the smoking really takes place in kind of the early stages of the cook, within the first half. This last bit is more about just cooking and tenderizing the meat. So the wood's not really needed over here, it's needed in the earlier part. So, get that hinge shut. The briquettes have now done, so you can just knock those. They just disintegrate to nothing, to be honest with you. Get those gone. Okay. And we now want to get the lid on, get it up to temperature, and get that temperature stable. What we're aiming for, what I tend to aim for low and slow smoke, is between 90 Celsius and 125 Celsius. So we want the damper fully open to start with, to get it up to temp. You'll see I've got this little mirror here, and that's just so I can easily see one of the damper holes, and I can see exactly how open it is. And it's this damper that we use to control the airflow, and that controls the temperature. But while we're getting it up to temp, we want it fully open. I have got the thermometer connected via Bluetooth to my phone as well, and I've got the range set, so once it's up to temp, if the temperature goes out of range, it will actually let me know, so I can come out and make some adjustments. So once it's up to temp, we will adjust the lower damper, get the temperature stable. Once we're happy it's stable, we can get the ribs on. So the inside of the barbecue got up to temp and stabilised. I adjusted the vents, so the vent's now been adjusted. I say vent, it's actually the intake, not the vent. The damper, that's what it's called. I've adjusted the damper and got the temperature to stabilise at about 100 C, which is fine. I've now loaded on the ribs. You see there, all over on the section, all over on the front section, and the fire is over at the back with this reservoir dividing and some extra water underneath. This is low and slow barbecue. This is how it works. It's indirect heat. It's not directly over the coal. The lid goes on, the smoke comes across, fills the chamber heats up and cooks like an oven, essentially, when it gets up to temp, just low and slow. So we'll get the lid on, and that should pretty soon get back up to its temperature now that the lid's on, and with the damper being adjusted correctly, that should settle at around the same temperature as before, 100 degrees-ish, give or take. And I'm now going to cook those for firstly 3 hours it's a lot of people use a 3-2-1 method, which is 3 hours open on the grill, uncovered, then 2 hours wrapped, and then 1 hour at the end, uncovered again to finish. I'm going to go for 3-3-1, just to get that extra bit of tenderness. So that's 3 hours open, as they are now, 3 hours wrapped, and then the last hour just to get them finished off. Every hour, I'm going to spritz them with this. This is just a bit of cider vinegar, a bit of water, and the rest of it is apple juice. So that's what I'm going to spritz it with every hour, just to make sure that they keep moist. So, I'll be back in 3 hours to see how it's going.
3 hours later.
3 hours later, and the ribs are looking very, very nice indeed. I'm now going to transfer them into this tray here, spritz, and I'm going to pour a bit of this in as well, just to make sure there's plenty moisture in there. Cover it with foil, and then back into here to cook and tenderize for another 3 hours. All right, that's another 3 hours cooking. Should be getting nice and tender now. So, we're now going to take it out of this tray, get it back on the grill. That's now back on the grill. I'm going to give it a quick spritz again, keep it moist. Get the lid back on and cook that now for the last hour, hour and a half, something like that. And then it can come off to rest. All right, there we go. All done and dusted. Gonna wrap these in foil and leave them to rest. They seem to be quite tender, they're squeezing quite easy. Look at that, falling away.